There we go. How are you doing?
I'm good. Working on some stuff.
Nice. Like new songs?
Yeah. Production stuff.
Nice. Like for yourself or for other people?
It's mostly for pitching.
Okay.
Yeah, or I mean, if nobody wants it, then I'll release it.
Where are you based out of?
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles? Are you like from there originally?
No, I'm from Massachusetts.
Okay. So you were discovered by Chris Kirkpatrick when you were about 12.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Um, it's interesting. My dad has been in the music industry, since before I was born, and I think he accidentally sent files to this guy named Jay Reason for something that I was doing. And Jay is actually a hardcore music manager, and he actually was like, "Hey, can I send this to my friend Mike and Chris?" And my dad was like, "Sure." And I had no idea until my dad was like, "Chris Kirkpatrick wants to work with you," and I was a huge fan of NSYNC, like huge fan. And he flew me out to Florida, and we worked together, and he was my mentor for a while.
Oh, nice. Did you like working with him?
Oh, I loved working with him. I don't work with him so much anymore. I wish that could change, but COVID has made it hard to reconnect. But yeah, he's incredible. He's a great vocal producer and songwriter, and he did all the backup vocals on my first album, and I felt it was a crazy experience.
So what made you switch from doing like mostly just singing to doing producing, engineering, and songwriting?
Um, I I moved out here when I was like 17, just about to be 18, and um, I don't know. I feel like I was like, all right, I don't really know that music, or at least being an artist, is what I want to do, because I had been doing it for so long, like since childhood, that I didn't know if it was something that I wanted to do, or if it was something that it was just the only thing that I knew how to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I experimented with being an actress and doing that whole thing. And I just kept coming back to music and songwriting mostly. And then I actually started a company for artist development.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was doing songwriting and producing and putting together teams for artists. I had 7 different artists and bands under me. I was managing them and just developing them as acts. And then I was wearing so many different hats that I stressed myself out, and I actually ended up in the ER with ulcers because I was so stressed out. Yeah, doing all of it, and I was like, well, maybe I should just stick to one thing or 2 things at tops. And so I was like, I'm the best that the best part of all of it has been songwriting and starting to produce and stuff. So I've been an engineer since I was 12. I engineered all my vocals, so it was just
Wow. So what made you choose the entertainment industry? Was it because you kind of grew up in that environment?
I don't think it was much of a choice. I feel like it's sort of my dad was in the music industry my whole life. I was going to rock shows by the time I was hardcore metal shows by the time I was 2. So and I was in the studio constantly because my dad was my best friend growing up. So I would be in the studio watching him and just absorbing everything and meeting, fucking, sorry, pardon my language,
Okay.
meeting, all these different people. Like, I went to a Big Time Rush concert when I was like 13, and I was invited to go and meet them. And so I was like, sure, yeah, I loved Big Time Rush. I was a big fan, as were most 13-year-olds around that. And I like got there, and my manager Jay was there, and he had his friend there with him, and his name was Sean. And he was like, I brought my guitar in case somebody wanted me to play something. And Sean grabbed my guitar and was carrying it around this like Big Time Rush concert. And it turned out to be the guitarist of Hatebreed carrying around my guitar at a Big Time Rush concert. And I had no clue. I had no idea. So like that's what I grew up with. I don't like I think that even if I wasn't like musically talented or whatever, like if I wasn't like a super creative person, I would probably be in the music industry as a manager or as, you know what I mean? Like, like something behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
I know. So that's a choice.
Which Big Time Rush concert was it?
It was the one at the Six Flags in Massachusetts. I forget. It's Six Flags something. I forget what the one in Massachusetts is called, but it was the one with Cody Simpson, Varsity Girls, New Boys, and LMFAO, and I got to meet all of them. And at the time, Cody Simpson was dating Haley Baldwin, who is now Justin Bieber's wife.
Yeah.
So like I got to meet her, and they were all secretive. Cody and her were all secretive dating because they were like 12.
That seems like just every 13-year-old in like 2011, 2012's dream.
Exactly. And nobody believed me when I went to school the next day. I was like, you guys, because you're not just sitting there taking pictures of these people as you're talking to them,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Who would you say your like biggest influences are?
Right now, my biggest influence is probably Charlie Puth, because I would love to be like the female Charlie Puth as far as like production goes. And I hate that I have to say female Charlie Puth, but like have that like girl power kind of side to it. But like he's such a like force, you know what I mean? And I just, everything that he does, I'm blown away, and I would just die if I was like even half as cool or as talented.
So you were talking about like starting a company earlier. Was that the Eastlake, Los Angeles that you started?
No, Eastlake actually this studio that I'm in currently. Eastlake started in Massachusetts with my dad. And he worked with the Rolling Stones and was working on Guitar Hero when he first kind of like started. And so he built his studio from the ground up and was really going for it in Massachusetts. And then we moved out here, and that's how Eastlake LA started. But my company was Revel Artist Development.
Okay.
And I mean, I pretty much have discarded all of everything with that just because it was so much.
Yeah.
So much work. I don't think people realize. But I mean, it taught me so much about the music industry.
Mm-hmm. And then if you could work with any artist, who would it be?
Well, Charlie Puth.
Yeah.
I love Ariana Grande.
Mm-hmm.
To kind of like contrast all of that, I would love to work with the Deftones.
Okay.
Just because they like impact a different part of me.
Mm-hmm.
which actually ends up bleeding into my pop stuff as well. But yeah, Deftones, Charlie Puth, Ariana Grande, probably Billie Eilish. I'm not sure because we might be a little bit too similar and clash a little bit, but I just love her and her voice and just her energy. Yeah, I mean, all of those people would be, and I mean, Radiohead would be crazy if I could do anything. If I could sit in a room with Tom York and just shut the fuck up and just do whatever and just watch, I would die.
Do you have a favorite artist that you have worked with?
Oh, I can't say favorite. I mean, well, actually, it's ironic because I just worked with a band called Favorite. But I mean, everybody has different things, you know. There's people that like the music might not be exactly what I would listen to, but being in the room with them is really fun. Or you know what I mean, like we create incredible music, you know, but we don't have as much of a connection emotionally, you know what I mean? Like it's different with every artist that I work with and every band that I work with. And I don't know. Most recently, I worked with the band Favorite, who I'm obsessed with. They're incredible. That's Zed and Ace. And we just wrapped up production on an entire album, which was crazy. And then I just worked with this girl, Madison Deaver, and she's like one of the most incredible vocalists I've ever like worked with. Just crazy. Her voice is so powerful and she hits like ridiculous high notes. So I'm excited for all of that music to drop.
It's amazing. So switching gears just a little bit, if you could change anything about the music industry, what would it be?
It's kind of tough because there's something that immediately comes to mind, but it's also something that has made it so that people can become extremely successful. And it's how like hard it is to get someone to listen. Like the experience that I have had is it's so hard to get somebody to listen to something, but usually when they listen to it, they love it and opportunities come after that. You know what I mean? But with, you know, with someone who is constantly listening and accepting and giving out opportunities all the time, that kind of almost, I don't want to say spreads the opportunities thin, but it makes a lot of those people who have, you know, the ear to say, hey, you know, I'm going to hook you up with Ariana Grande, you're going to be in this room to write. It gives them less of less power to be able to give out those opportunities because they're just handing them out to anybody. And I guess it's just hard because like I would love to be able to just send out a track to someone and them just listen to it and love it and then, you know, be like, hey, let's work on this, you know, Charlie Puth album.
Yeah.
Like, that would be great. But also somebody could get there before you because they're just listening to anybody. So it's hard. There's so much talent out there that like it's competitive. It's so competitive. And you have to be a competitive person, which I am, but I'm also like empathetic and I'm the type of person that'd be like, but this person's good too. Like, you know, I don't know.
I feel that. So you said you were working on a couple projects with other artists. Do you have anything of your own that's going to be coming out soon?
I actually do. I have an album with Adrian Young, who's the drummer for No Doubt, and Todd Foreman, who actually played horns for Sublime. Two crazy legendary people that I've had the incredible opportunity and fortune to work with. And I have a single coming out with Zed from Favorite. We did a duet, and those are both scheduled to come out early February.
Okay.
And there'll be video content, there'll be, you know, the songs and awesome pictures that we've gotten to take incredibly throughout the pandemic. I'm really, really, really stoked for both of those.
Okay. How has like running kind of the company, how has that changed really in 2020? Like with recording and working with artists?
Oof. It's a lot it's a lot more few and far between. So I get tested constantly because I have anxiety, like bad anxiety about it. And anyone that I come in contact with has to get tested like multiple times before I see them, and they have to be quarantined and not going places. And so it's time consuming just on that level. But I mean, it's been hard just because before the pandemic, I was seeing people every day. I was working with different people. I was working with the songwriter Athena. She's incredible, and I miss her so much. I haven't seen her in a year because she, you know, she's immunocompromised, and so we don't want to put her, you know, in harm's way. And so it's been hard mentally more than like monetarily. Obviously it's been rough just because fuck, you can't work as much and you can't make as much money, and
Yeah.
sucks. Mostly mentally, I think it's taken a toll just because you're not around these people who are like-minded.
Mm-hmm.
And video calls just aren't the same.
They're not. um do you have anything else you want to share?
Oh man, I'm a talker, so I think you noticed. um um I would just say to anyone who is looking to become a producer or a songwriter or anything in this music industry, be prepared to be told like no, or you know, that it's not good enough, or any of the worst possible things that you can really think of, and understand that there's going to be someone out there that wants to hear what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it can get super, super cold out there. You know, people who love your stuff one day will hate it the next day, and you don't know why. And like, that's just how it is. And then it's the opposite too. Someone who hates your stuff one day can love it the next day, and just, you know, totally support you and everything that you're doing, and, you know, make your career or break your career. But just continue doing you and innovating and, you know, experimenting and yeah, just creating.
Okay. Good advice. Did I already ask you, do you have a favorite project of your own that you've worked on?
Ooh. No, you didn't.
All right.
I would say my favorite project of my own. I think probably it's between, oh, there's like three that are like, the album Star that I put out is some of the first songs that I ever produced.
Okay.
Ever. So it has a really special place in my heart. And all of those songs were written and produced within probably about a 2-week span.
Yeah.
So, you know, each of them were written and produced in one day. And I was just on fire, you know, going, and just super, super inspired. Probably not mentally stable. And then the other ones I would say are New Reality, the second album that I put out, which is like an R&B album, and then the album that I'm about to release, which I did with Adrian Young and Todd Foreman. And my friend Chase actually is like, we co-wrote all of the songs, and he is just insane. His name's Chase Crowish. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name right, and I've always like avoided saying it in front of him. So yeah, I hope I said it right. He's insanely talented as a songwriter, and just creating those songs. I went through some messed up stuff in my personal life that I was able to write about, and put down, and it just was an incredible experience. So those three, I would say.
Do you have a name for your new album yet, or is it like under wraps?
It's kind of like I had a name for it, and now I'm sort of like reconsidering.
Okay.
Because of everything that's happened this year.
Yeah.
But I can say that it's like a live studio album, and it's all been like it's super different from anything that I've done before. So yeah, I'm excited.
Sounds exciting. I look forward to listening to it when it comes out. And then one last question. What's just one random fun fact about yourself?
A fun fact. It can't be a sad fact. Okay.
It could be a sad fact.
Well, okay, sure. I have a tattoo right here of a roast chicken. And I gave it to myself. I actually give myself most of my tattoos.
Okay.
Stick and poke, which is not the fun fact yet. That's a normal fact. The chicken tattoo is dedicated to 7-year-old me, who, when I was younger, my parents and I moved out here for about a year and a half. Okay. And they wanted me to be an actress back then. And I had presented some interest in it. And so we like met a producer, and the producer was like, hey, you want to be on this pilot for Tyra Banks's talk show? And I was like, Tyra Banks, we watch America's Next Top Model all the time. Like, yeah, let's do it. And so it was me and a bunch of young kids. I can't remember if they were girls, all girls or not, but they were young kids around 7 to like 10. And I was sitting right next to Tyra. She had her arm around me, and she's asking everyone what they want to be when they grow up. And everyone's like, oh, I want to be, a singer. I want to be a veterinarian. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a firewoman. I want to be a, whatever. And it comes to me, and she's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I look her dead in the face, and I say, I want to be the first person to eat the most chicken. And they like stopped filming. They're like, cut. And someone was like, are you sure that you want to say that? Like, is that really what you want to be when you grow up, or are you just hungry? Like, so I was like, yeah, that's what I want to be. And I mean, it didn't end up airing, which like breaks my heart, honestly. And I kind of want to reach out and look for that footage, because it's such a part of who I am to this day. But yeah, so I tattooed this on myself. I'm hoping to get a little blue ribbon on there that says #1. And yeah, that's basically me in a nutshell.
Do you still have that goal?
It's kind of an unattainable goal, because it's the first person to eat the most chicken, which, if you think about it, it's sort of a chicken and the egg sort of situation.
Mhm.
Like, the first person to eat the most chicken is the first person to eat any chicken, so
Yeah.
it's unattainable. I was already setting way too high standards for myself.
And then what's your favorite like form of chicken?
Ooh, see, that's tough because there's so many different ways to eat it. Not physically, but like, you
Yeah.
know, you kind of only do it one way. Um, I love fried chicken. I love chicken parmesan. I love like roast chicken. Um, Most recently, I've been having um, chicken katsu with like Japanese curry. Oh, so good. Mm.
Um, have you like uh did you know how to cook like before 2020 or were you like learning how to do it? Like learning how to make your own chicken?
Oh, I've been ordering out a lot. Like a lot. I was cooking more before 2020.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't really cook these days.
Okay.
Just like someone else do it for me and don't sneeze in the food, please.
All right. Well, it was super nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Have a nice rest of your day.
Thank you.